So in this video, Mr. Gonzalez and I want to talk about how to analyze this film thematically and visually, and how the director set the scenes and visually support the themes of the clash of cultures between the English and the Aborigines.
Yeah, pretty simple here, guys. When we look at it, a lot of times we sit there and we say that there's not a whole lot going in the film outside of just the basic comprehension. But we want to focus in on some of the little minute, or maybe not so minute, but smaller details that really help to enforce the message.
You can pause this, probably.
I don't know, pause.
Maybe not. We'll let it go.
Yeah.
So the first scene we're looking at here deals with Mr. Neville. It's later on in the piece.
The scene is at the end. The girls have already made it back, or they have not made it back to Jigalong, but they're getting close. And Neville and Riggs have kind of stopped actively searching for the girls.
Funds to pursue the missing half-caste girls, Molly and Daisy. I would ask to be kept informed of their whereabouts, so that at some future date they may indeed be recovered. We face an uphill battle with these people, especially the bush natives, who have to be protected against themselves. If they would only understand
Try to run a little bit more.
what we are trying to do for them.
Wait till the woman walks out.
Yours attention. Thank you.
That's good. So I'd like to start by talking a little thematically and just the story that we see, and then or do you want to talk about the visuals first?
Well, the first thing that stands out to me, let's go ahead and start with the visuals,
Okay.
is this concept or notion of civil versus primitive, okay, and when we're looking at the clash of cultures. Neville's in a finely kept suit, his hair is perfectly parted, he's looking very much the role of a person that is the protector, right? This person that...
And civilized.
A civilized, yeah. This person that, for all intents and purposes, has a very specific ideal or belief about what civil is. You look at the setting of the scene, okay, he's sitting behind a desk, there's, a lot of structure, a lot of order, a lot of files, cabinets, okay, things that you don't find in the bush, things that you wouldn't necessarily see as representations of civil within the culture that these girls come from.
So one of the things that's cool about that, what you're talking about, like the floor, for example, the floor pattern, and it's wood, and all the cabinets are wood, and they're this very red wood. And maybe what the director's going for there is all of those are made from the bush. They're made from materials found in the bush, right? And they've been civilized. They've been turned into a wood floor, or they've been turned into a cabinet. So that visually can add to the clash of cultures.
I like that.
So I got one from the beginning. At the very beginning of the text detail we showed just now, Neville's looking out the window, and there's a line of Aborigines that are all dressed in civilized English clothing. And what they're doing is waiting to meet with Neville on some issue, because he has total control over their lives.
Yeah.
And the other visual in that scene that I think is cool are the three pieces of paper or piles of paper that are in front of them. Somehow that looks like it's the law, sort of that symbolizes the law and his power, and he's looking down on them. And so I think the director there, in that part of the text detail, is adding that idea of the English dominating the native culture.
Absolutely. And hitting back on what you talked about earlier with the Aborigines that are dressed up formally outside waiting in line, it reminds me of a scene early on in the piece where there's a woman that's standing outside, and his secretary comes on in and says that she's waiting to get word on, Neville's secretary comes on in and says that this lady's waiting to get word on whether or not she's going to be allowed to see her kid.
Yes.
And so it's almost as if in order to be allowed to do what they want to do, they have to conform to the societal norms that Neville is enforcing on this population, whether it's the attire, whether it's the just a line of communication, the fact that you have to stand outside and wait, a sense of order, a sense of structure, a sense of we're calling the shots, which is very much a key aspect to getting this clash of cultures.
Yeah.
Highlighted throughout the piece.
Yeah. And that's in contrast to every time we see the girls, Molly, Daisy, and Gracie, and their mothers or their grandmothers out in the bush. It's very open, that, you know, it's more casual, it seems more relaxed. And so I agree, the question is who's more civil and civilized in this situation, you know, and the surface order in the Neville scenes it feels constricted.
Absolutely, and it's just as constricted as the language that Neville chooses to use. I mean, it's very much a structured way of speaking, it's a formal way of speaking, and it's almost a disconnect from the people that he's trying to transform or convert.
Cool. Yeah. So I want to say one last thing maybe about this last scene, I might turn the lights off so we can see it a little better. I find this an interesting, and this is just on camera angle. And we see all the wood things that we were talking about before, but just on the camera angle, what's going on here. Because the director kind of zoomed up and is looking down. You know, it feels sort of that it's judgmental. And based on what Neville just said, what we really need to do with these bush natives is protect them from themselves. And then the camera angle zooms up like this. Sort of almost a god-like image looking down and judging him, and the way he's sitting is so stiff, and I think it's the movie, the director saying that's wrong what he's doing, that's evil what he's doing, even though his words are we're trying to help these people. So I think that adds to that clash of culture just from the camera angle.
Sure. I mean, and if you wanted to even build on that, if you look around the surroundings there, everything is very structured, right? Everything seems to try to represent a sense that what I'm doing is right. Look at all the structure that I'm representing to you.
Right,
the order.
Things are stacked up.
Exactly,
the
nothing's
papers.
out of place.
Look at his
Doesn't
desk.
look like my classroom.
Looks just like my desk.
Yeah. All right, you want to go ahead and pause it there?
Well,